Hello and welcome to Sweet Spot DFS. This is a preview for the, it's called a military tribute at the Greenbrier, but it's the Greenbrier Championship. I'm a little unprepared. Didn't have much planned for the show. If you guys were with me during the end of the 2019 season, I did make a move. I got a new job, so everything was it was a whirlwind at the end of August. So I didn't create a Tour Championship video, but I did create a BMW Championship preview and a review. So, and a bunch of you guys had watched it. This video is coming out at like 12:30 at night, Central Daylight Time. So, Standard Time. So maybe some of you guys on the West Coast are gonna get this before lineups lock. Maybe you're making some last minute adjustments. Maybe you're not. I do want to say there was, if you follow the PGA Tour, you know that there was an off season and it was 2 weeks. So the Tour Championship ended, then there were 2 weeks of nothing, at least PGA wise. I don't know if anyone is in the field this week that played in the Euro events, but for the PGA only, there were no events the last 2 weeks. And if you've been with me throughout a lot of these videos, these preview and review videos, you'll know that I use kind of a combination of recent form and course history. Well, technically, this tournament was played last year. I mean, we're still in the year of 2019, but this is technically the 2020 season. And there wasn't a Greenbrier in the 2019 season. So from the beginning of the season until the Tour Championship, there was no Greenbrier. Therefore, there was no tournament last year. But calendar year, there was. All of that, taken into account, we can still use last year, course history and last year stats. Which I'll go through. However, it's kind of just a hodgepodge. We got a bunch of new golfers coming from the Corn Ferry Tour. We have a bunch of golfers who didn't play in the last couple weeks of the FedEx playoffs because they weren't that good, and you can anticipate a lot of not very good golfers are going to be at this tournament. So it's kind of a crapshoot, honestly. I would say just pick your favorites. I really don't have a very good way of presenting who I like other than name value. We can go through stats, that's fine. Again, if you guys have watched me throughout the beginning, I'm not huge on stats. I mean, the stats I like are your course history and recent form stats. I hate swing metrics. I don't think they even provide a good tell as to who's going to do well, and I love predicting who's going to do well. I don't know who else you guys watch, but if you were to say, I'm not going to give out any names, but certain people like to use like a given year for a tournament. So last year's tournament, for instance. They will look at stats for that tournament and kind of make a prediction that golfers with those stats, who do well with those stats, are going to do well at that tournament. That never, ever happens. And honestly, like, you should criticize, and you can criticize me, but criticize these people who say, okay, the Greenbrier, at this golf course, at this tournament, these stats don't apply, or these stats do apply. Let's target those golfers. It's not going to work. You're going to have random golfers who aren't good in those key stats. They're going to do well at this tournament, and they're going to do well for this week. Like, how do you predict? Like, it goes against you. It's a counter. It just does not work. So I don't have stats to give you. We don't have recent form. I mean, I do have a recent form tab that we'll go through. We can look at course history, see who's playing, who has the best course history. We can go talk through that, and I'm going to. But yeah, for the most part, I mean, this is a crapshoot, guys, and that's all I wanted to get through to you, to all of you guys, is just pick who you want to play. I would say play sparsely. You know, don't. It's probably already too late. The lineups, you know, for most contests have already locked because the maximum amount of entries have been met, and there are some tournaments that still can provide more entries. So go ahead and go for it. Typically above my face here, I have stats that I always slide through, or you know, things that I look for for any given week for that tournament. I don't have any. Had a late jump on this again. Obviously, you've heard. So, all right, enough of that. Let's get into the course breakdown. And I should say this video is mainly going to be for record keeping purposes. Going through the spreadsheet, talking it over. I want to hear myself talk about this next year. I mean, I want to re-listen to this and see what sticks for next year. And that's kind of my purpose for doing this, as well as talking it out with you guys. So you can understand where I'm coming from and what I think and whatnot. All right, course history. We are at the Old White TPC. This is in White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia. Probably the longest location that we could have. We are on bent grass, as you all know if you watch my shows. I like bent grass. Bent grass does provide a really good surface to putt on. The architect, first time I ever heard of Charles B. McDonald, so I don't know really what to anticipate with his course design. And he designed this thing like early 1900s. I doubt we'll ever see any of his design courses, and I don't think there's really anything. We've seen this golf course, obviously. It is fairly simple. It's going to be kind of a high score is going to win this tournament, so it's going to be around 20 under. Let's see. Well, let's just go right into the spreadsheet. That's not the one that I want. Sorry, guys. Okay, so let's go into the course history. Actually, let's go into the recent form tab. All over the place. I created a recent form tab. I always do. As you can see, I just marked 2 weeks off. I like looking back at the last 7 weeks. So obviously 2 here, 3, 4, 5, 6, and these were played the same week. This is the off event, the alternate event, and that's the St. Jude. Let's go ahead and put a filter on this. And you know what? Let's look at all the other recent forms. Again, I'm sorry, I came unprepared. 2018. We aren't going to have a good tell a recent form. I mean, you have 5 golfers who have a recent form of 60 or worse. Look at all the results in the top 5, and a bunch of people tied for the top 5. So here's your top 10. It's gross, man. That's a bunch of miscuts. A few top 10s in there. I mean, you can count them out. Maybe that's a good tell. Like, I want to target golfers who had a top 10 in the last 7 weeks. 1 or 2 of them. Obviously, we have some down here, and I'm sure if we keep going down, we're going to find more. At least top 10, top 20. But the recent form is kind of telling. The recent form average. It's difficult. I don't think we can. Last year's finishing is also kind of all over the place. You got a couple within top 5, some in the 20 to 40 range, and then missed cuts, a couple missed cuts, and a couple did not plays. And for course history, again, course history isn't the biggest tell. Sure, we have 2 golfers here. Did Kelly Craft have 2 top 5s? Sure hope so. Okay, cool, he did. Very interesting. I'm sorry if you guys can hear that. And get sprinkler sprayed on. for whatever reason on my window outside. Great timing, right? But okay, so yeah, it's just one of those things. Now, Russell Henley has the best course history, and he might be some golfer I think worth playing. I think I'll probably play him in a lot of my lineups. Again, this is 2018 recent form. But yeah, I just want to point out the fact that recent form, difficult to tell. Same with course history. Go to 2017. Now, there wasn't a last year form or last year result because 2016 rained out, flooded the golf course, and there wasn't a tournament played in 2016. So we don't have a 2016 recent form tab. There isn't a last year result because that obviously didn't happen. Course history and last week. Again, last week, not really telling. Recent form, not really telling. You have just a bunch of bad recent form coming in, playing well at this golf tournament. So, take it for what it's worth. Course history. Now, this is the second time I've seen at least 2 golfers with course history better than 20. Take that for what you will. So we skip 2016. We go into 2015. Recent form again. It's a pattern, guys. You're going to see recent form did not matter. And of course, we don't have the last 2 weeks going into this because there weren't any PGA tournaments. So we have 2 weeks of rested golfers. What does that mean? We have some Korn Ferry Tour players that are coming over. Again, what does that mean? It just, to me, what it means, this is a volatile week, and it's going to be with the track record that this tournament has with not finishing tournament, it moved this year. So it's no longer being played, I think, in July. Now it's being played in September. That probably makes a difference. We have never seen this tournament being played in September. This is the first tournament of the year. There's no tournament prior to. So we can't really, course history is probably the only thing that you want to use. Recent form, going to be difficult. Again, there are 3 golfers now or 3 years worth of data that we've just reviewed that have a course history better than 20. And quite honestly, that was probably Danny Lee's. He played 1 tournament, I'm sure, prior to this 2015 tournament, and that obviously was the 16th place he got the year before. David Lingmerth would have only had 2 years within this information, and Brendan Todd obviously just played once. So I don't know really honestly what to make of that. And I'm not going to keep banging the same drum. A lot of the same. Looks like 2014 was a little bit better with the players that came here. But, we don't have a star-studded field. You have a few good golfers and a bunch of good young golfers. That was 2013 that I just, skipped right past. You can see, again, recent form. Not good. But, we have Bryson. He's young, 26, I think. Victor Hovland. Please, guys. Any of the professionals out there that don't know how to say this kid's name, it's Hovland. It's not Hovland. Hovland. Say it with me. Hovland. Sorry, I watched a video earlier today where a guy said Hovland about 20 times, and I almost pulled my hair out. Listen to the PGA Tour radio. They will make fun of you if you say Hovland wrong. It's Hovland, not Hovland. Thank you for letting me do that. Kokrak he ended the year strong. Now the 14th, that is dead middle for the Tour Championship. So it looks good because it's light green, but it's middle of the pack. That was kind of a disappointing finish for him. But he was tearing it up just prior to. Again, I only go back the last 7 weeks. I only think those are, somewhere between 5 and 7 weeks are the most important weeks. It's about a month. In all honesty, really a week probably changes things. feel like during the end of the year last year, we were doing a really good job of determining what was good recent form coming into a tournament, and I should say this: any good recent form coming into the tournament, was it kind of fake recent form or was it consistent? I mean, that's what we were kind of getting at. It's not star-studded, but now that I look at it again, these are some good names. Scotty Scheffler, probably him, and Victor Hovland, definitely the two golfers, young golfers. Shoot, Joaquin Niemann's in there, and Sung J M. Those four golfers, man, I don't think you can go wrong with them. So that's going to be a difficult one to choose between. I mean, 9,300 and above. You could go with Scotty and Sung Jae or Joaquin, and then you only have like 7,300 maybe to work with. So I don't know how I really feel about that. Going down, Keegan Bradley is a good value. 90. Well, in this field, he's a good value. And then it's just you're gonna find a bunch of names that you're not gonna know, you're not gonna hear about. Yeah, I don't have a tell, so I'm not gonna go through all these players. I'm not gonna try to say, oh hey, this guy's gonna be a good golfer. You should play this guy, or anything of the like. So I don't know, guys. I'm not ashamed to say I don't know. It stinks because I'm here making a show that typically I predict these things, or try to, and I just don't have anything that I can predict. So with that being said, I think that's okay. Let's do some roster construction. If you're familiar, kind of go through this. I have this spreadsheet that eventually I'm going to sell and present in a marketable way, but right now not so much. I think what I'm going to do, what I want to do, I don't know, I forget how many lineups I created, maybe 40. So I think like a fourth of them, I'm going to go with Hovland. I'm going to play some Bryson. So let me back it up. Let's go with Bryson and 5 lineup. Just because I don't want to miss out. And I think this is a good tournament for him to actually play well at. Kind of, everyone has that 2-week break, but I think it's probably more beneficial for him to have that 2-week break. And I have these color-coded based off of the last year bucket. If you guys remember what the last year bucket is, I basically did a count of how many golfers fell in a certain range of finishing position. And the last year bucket 1 scores are golfers who did not play. Who did not play in this tournament last year. And again, we do have last year stats, so we can use last year for the last year bucket. You know what? I'm just, for the sake of this, I'm just gonna do this. Do all the young golfers. Actually, let me double check something real quick. I want to double check how many lineups I am in. I think actually it might be 20 something. I might be mixing up how many lineups I have with how many NFL lineups I have. So in the golf, 33. Okay. Well, I think that's too many Sung Jae, but what I can do here is go Joaquin, put there, drag down. I do want to play some Henley, so I'll play him that many times, and then our last guy, Scheffler. This will kind of, Scheffler will be kind of our, that's 33, right? Yep, 33. Scheffler's going to provide us a little bit of kind of, what am I trying to say? A more balanced lineup, because he's only, what, $9,000? $9,300? Okay. So if we start out with Bryson, we have 7,700 left. If we start out with Hovland, we have 7,800 left. Sung Jae gives us 8. Same with Joaquin. And then Scheffler gives us 81. And okay, go back, go to the DK page, scroll over here, our players. I'm gonna sort these by grass stats because to me that's probably one of the more important stats in my opinion. And what I'm gonna do is just kind of look at the overall bent and see who's at the top. We have Victor Hovland at the top, Rafael Campos, who is a Puerto Rican golfer. He has 2 bent grass events under his belt, and he's like upper 30s. So somebody I wouldn't really recommend playing. But there we go with Scotty Scheffler. So Scheffler and Hovland, really good stats. Sung Jae, again, good stats. And a lot of these guys don't have that many bent events, so that's probably why a lot of their stats are good. But Ben An, I actually really like Ben An this week. When I first looked through this, I thought that was a good play. And Bo Hosler, another good play. 7,300. He's probably going to make 80% of my lineups. And probably just because it's going to make my lineup building faster. It is 1 o'clock in the morning. And I just have a placeholder in line right now. So I'll be making these lineups fairly quick and going with the golfers that I really like. So Hovland, Scheffler, Ben An. Probably play some Bubba. Maybe not. Not at 10,000. I'll put some Zach Johnson in there, but I really like Hosler. Jimmy Walker is one of those golfers that's really difficult to trust. You know, the Lyme's disease is hard to predict. Not sure if it really affects his game that much or not. I'm sure it does. It's Hank Lebioda. Let's do this. Let's get rid of, say, a handful of events. Go this route and find our golfers up at the top. I like this core right here. Bubba, Zach, Joaquin, and Bo Hosler, mainly because they have a really good clip of finding the top 10. But all of them 20% and above. Kokrak is down here. DeChambeau is down here. So, you know, a bunch of top price guys. Kevin Chappell's coming back. I think he had a medical leave last year where, I forget what it's called, but basically where he just doesn't, or he gets to skip a full year and not lose his eligibility. I could be wrong on that. Maybe he played at the Corn Ferry Tour, and I didn't look into it. But okay, so that's your overall bent. I'm just gonna go through this quick. We don't need to sit here and go through all of the golfers. That's your overall bent. Your 2019 bent stats. Brennan Todd was at the top, but that was one tournament. I think Scotty Scheffler also only has one tournament for last year on a bent grass track. Lovemark is an interesting name. I would, at 6,300, I think it's pretty doable. Yeah, I think you could actually play him and not really get burned too much. It's good to see that. Probably would not have noticed that until going through it. Yeah, I don't really see anyone else that I like. Go to the top 10 bent stats. There's Campos with his 50% clip, but again, only 2 events. But there's Hosler. Hosler's the top. It was that whole group of golfers except for Bill Haas, I think. Oh, Haas must have been in. Yeah, I think that those are not bad golfers to go with, and really. Whoops. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. So Cameron Smith, Joel Damon. I like Damon. Damon's a good bent grass player, or was until last year. I think last year was kind of pretty whatever, not good. Okay, well, Bo Hosler is going to probably lead a lot of my squads, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. I really like Bo Hosler. Let's do this. Do that. Copy. Let's put him at the back end just because he saves a lot of money. put them in 60% of my lineups with these golfers. Essentially. Hovland, 10 lineups with Hovland. There's 6 with Hosler. Him I have in 5, so we'll put him in 3 for Joaquin. Have what? 6? 4. Henley I'll put in 2. Scheffler I'll put in. There's no escaping the Hosler. So it gives us a little bit more freedom with our lineups when creating all of these. I do like that. Let's see what a good pivot is from Hosler. We'll go ahead and sort these out again by salary. Come down here to 7,300. Bo Hosler. Is there really anyone around him that we like? Cameron Tringale. He had a Michelob Ultra commercial with JB Holmes. I don't know if you guys watched that on YouTube or not, but boy, is he a dry guy. Like, he is just is a bore to listen to him, let's put it that way. Adam Schenk had a pretty decent year, I want to say. Here's Chappell once again. Pretty decent. Peter Uline, I wonder if he's worth the play. He's just a grinder. I do like him. Morgan Hoffman's back. He had an injury. Was kind of, I mean, he was a golfer that I really liked to play about 2 years ago. Probably not worth the play until he comes back and prove himself. Now we're kind of coming down in no man's land. Brendan DeYoung has some decent bent grass stats. Decent. He didn't even play any events last year. I believe Stuart Appleby's not playing. I think he withdrew. So don't play him. Or do if he is playing. Here's a love mark once again. A love mark in a couple of our lineups. Put them there. Actually, yeah, sure. Let's just put them in a bunch of our. Okay with that. Okay. Well, guys, I'm gonna end it there. I don't know what's on my face, but it's bothering the hell out of me, and I'm not gonna start scratching it on camera. But essentially, got the gist of it. I don't think there's anything else that I really needed to go through. Usually I look at tee times, see who's all paired up together. I suppose we can go through that real quick. There's Joaquin Niemann. I like him. He's golfing really quick. So that's the other thing too with strategy. We could get some afternoon golfers, pair up with some morning golfers. It might be worth the play. Russell Henley is a golfer I like. Joaquin Niemann is a golfer I like. They're all in the morning. Oh, the other thing with this golf course, there are 2 par 5s, and they're on the back side. There's no par 5s on the front. It might be worth starting your lineups with golfers who start on the back 9 to get hot really fast and then use that momentum going in the front 9. Or perhaps, if you think of it the opposite way, maybe they grind out that first front 9, get warmed up, and have a better eagle opportunities on the backside. Up to you guys. But I just want to let you, I mean, that's information you probably wouldn't have heard anywhere else, but definitely worth playing or thinking about. I feel like there just has to be a few lineups here. So DeChambeau, Keegan Bradley, Scott Piercy. I don't like that group whatsoever. I don't think they mesh well together. You have a finicky person in Keegan. You have a slow golfer in Bryson. And then Scott Pierce is kind of just an asshole. He just does not care to be with. At least that's what it looks like. He just doesn't look like he cares much. scanning through these. I'm not going to talk about a bunch of them. I don't see anybody really that I like so far. Damon with Redmond and Tringale. That's not bad. Not a bad pairing. I like it because I think they can feed off each other. I think those are golfers that could feed off each other. This is a good lineup here. Leishman, Brandon Grace, who I didn't talk about at all, and Sungjae Im. Maybe it's worth pairing, you know, a combination of those golfers together, 2 or 3. Kevin Na, Bubba Watson, and Scott Stallings. I don't know what to make out of that group. I really don't. I usually try to stay away from anyone who's paired up with Bubba, but I don't know who's friends on tour with Bubba. Kevin Na seems like a guy that probably could be, so, you know. There's Love Mark. He's with Martin Laird and Sebastian Munoz. I don't mind that, mainly because I like Love Mark. I don't like who Uline is with, but I think he's more to himself anyways, so maybe that works out. This is a hell of a lineup. Holy moly. Scheffler, Maverick McNeely, and Victor Hovland. That is dynamite. This is your future for the PGA Tour. These golfers right here. And you probably haven't really heard much of McNeely, but he's up there, man. You know what? Oh my god. Now, one thing I should always add, typically you don't find 3 of the same golfers inside the top, not the same golfers. 3 golfers that were paired up Thursday and Friday finding themselves in the top 10. Not all 3 of them at once. Now, I've seen 2, and I've seen 2 as best as top 5 together, where they only play Thursday and Friday, but both, or 2 of those golfers somehow find themselves in the top 5 and didn't play with each other during the weekend. Yeah, I think that's my strategy. I want to pick golfers from this group. How much is McNeely? Right here, 6,400. Six Bentgrass events. Not good results. Did not play in 2019. Oh man, I you know what? I'll put him in a bunch of my lineups. But Scheffler now with seeing that with Hovland, definitely playing him in a bunch of lineups. I like that, and I'm gonna come back with McNeely. What was 64? There he is. Now, when I'm constructing these, I do have this in mind. So McNeely and Lovemark, right? I should say Scheffler, McNeely, they're in the same group, pairing them with Lovemark and Hosler. I don't know how I feel about that. It's just not one of those, because I have it here also. To me, it just doesn't work, I think what I need to do is just make sure that I have, when I do this, I like that. I mean, I like the idea of playing Lovemark. I have no idea what his game is like right now. This is just a gut, and Lovemark I think provides that type of boom or bust capability of winning golf tournaments. Well, DFS golf tournaments. So there we go. I'm glad that we got through the tee time. All right, we didn't really get through the tee times, but coming down to we're finding that group, that super group that I'll call them. You know what? Now I'm up here. I do like that group as well. Hughes, and Wilkinson. I'm just gonna. I wouldn't asterisk it, but you guys follow me. For the time being, until I get a boom, my mic actually rests on top of the keyboard over a platform, so I can't really see it, and I'm not gonna move it up where the mic might pick it up. I just don't want you guys hearing that. So I'm putting the ones. I do like Hickok. Oppenheim used to be someone I used to play quite a bit. Definitely, I liked it. Same with Henrik Norlander. I think, oh, he's not playing with Lanto. Darn. This is a kind of a fun group here. A bunch of Corn Ferry specialists or web.com specialists. Mini tour specialists playing on the PGA. It's nice seeing those guys. Really don't see anyone down here. Do you like Patrick Rodgers? So Kokrak is playing with Streelman and Lee. You like Teeter as well. I think that'll be a good pairing there. Maybe Sprinkle and Gomez here and there. I don't know what to do with KH Lee. I didn't even see him when I went through everything. Osler, ooh, with Seamus Power, I like that. I have no idea who Joe Boros is. So I'm pretty sure it's Christopher. It certainly could just be Christopher, but I think in the Norwegian language that's Christopher. No, it's probably Christopher. Now that I think of it. So Christopher Ventura. He was an up and coming rookie, like amateur. He played in a couple U.S. Opens and British Opens as the low am, I think, for the Euro. I think it might be worth the play or just the look. I don't know. Maybe not. Hearn. Somebody would be nice to see him play well. I'm just gonna mark that as a group. That's a group of has-beens. If I've ever seen one. All right. Well, that's it. I'm gonna go through the lineups, but just want to show you guys some of these pairings here that I think are worth the play. So hopefully you guys take this. Ooh, I like these two guys together. John Daly. Well, whatever. Those two guys, I think, decent ball strikers. I think they'll be able to push themselves to hitting. They'll be playing closest to the pin well, Thursday and Friday. Okay. Minnesota, goodbye. We just keep saying goodbye until we finally end, the thing, whatever. So, want to thank you guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for showing up. Next week's tournament should have a little bit better of a video, a little bit better information, and altogether just better. So, thank you for watching. Leave a like or hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe if you haven't. All right, see you later.